At this point, we're recording.
We're recording.
We don't have your video, and we're streaming off of just a laptop for your audio. It's not through the main speaker system.
Okay.
So if you can't hear us for any reason, certainly speak up, and please speak up when you speak. We're going to mic the computer, but that's the best we can do right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Madam Clerk, we're recording. We've got that much going on.
We are recording. I've mic'd the computer for Councilor Revert, so you may begin.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for your patience. I apologize for the delay of our regular council meeting. We've been having clearly some technical difficulties. The meeting is going to be, just to recap, the meeting will be recorded and posted to YouTube following the meeting. But there's no video, it will simply be audio, and there's no YouTube live streaming currently for the same technical challenges. And we do have a participant joining us with audio. So we'll just go through and call the roll. We've got, I'm so thrown off now. What day is it today? Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Present.
We have Councillor Watt.
Present.
Councillor Johnston.
Present.
Councillor Vervoort.
Present.
Both myself, Mayor Heather Watson. And then staff joining us is our CIO, Todd Davis, our CIO, Deputy CIO, Martina Cheat-Hartwig.
Good afternoon.
Our treasurer, Paul Kramer. So, look at that. Our CBO, Mr. Hellman, is back as well. Thank you. So with quorum of council in attendance, I will call the meeting to order, beginning with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the lands which are part of the 1818 Treaty 20 and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe bands of the Great Ojibwe Nation. We offer our gratitude to the Ojibwe for their care and knowledge of the lands on which we work, live, and enjoy. May we honor and respect their teaching and our treaty obligations as we grow together. And we'll just pause for a moment of silent reflection. Okay, it's really quiet in here without all those fans running. Council, the agenda has been circulated in advance of tonight's meeting. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Hearing and seeing nothing, could I get a motion to approve the agenda? Councillor Johnston, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor? And that motion carries. Adoption of the minutes, just one set of minutes from March 4th.
So moved.
Councillor Watt, Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor? And that too is carried. Moving on to our consent agenda. We have two items. Is there any item that council wishes to hold for discussion? Seeing nothing, just a motion to adopt those. I've got Deputy Mayor Nelson.
I'll second it.
All in favor? And that motion carries. We have no delegations, no public registrants for the public comment period. So on to staff reports, beginning with the report and capital project status. Any questions of staff on that report? Then simply a motion to receive that. Waiting for Councillor Vervoort to pipe in.
I'll make a motion to receive. Thank you.
Thank you. I know you tried on the last one. Anyone want to second that? Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor? And
yes.
That carries. And item 10.2, our annual building department financial report for 2024. And Mr. Kramer, that's over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And council, before you is report treasurer 2025-6, which is the annual building department financial report for 2024. This report is required as per subsection 7.4 of the Ontario Building Code Act. There is one important thing to note in this year's report and the subsequent results of 2024. So beginning in 2024, there's a new accounting policy that requires us to only recognize revenue once the work has been performed. So for the building department, how that is pertinent is in the past, we would have recorded all revenue once received. So building permit is issued, payment is received, and all revenue is recognized. What this policy or the new regulation is aiming to do is to recognize that much of the work still needs to be completed relative to the revenue received. This is consistent with other accounting policies. They're just formalizing that municipalities specifically need to look at this for the building department and planning department as well. So for 2024, what this does though is because we were not required to do this in 2023, there is no deferred revenue from 2023 or previous years. And this creates a large deferral in 2024 and none to be brought forward from other years. So it's important to note, although this year is showing a deficit, if we were to follow our previous practices and recognize all revenues, we would have recognized revenues of 694,000 and an operating surplus of 176. But I do think this is reflective, and this is a good practice because many of the permits that are still open are still going to require work going forward. So with that, open to any questions on the report.
Thank you. Any questions from council on the report? Councillor Watt?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, thanks. Well, so what you're saying is if a permit's open right now and it doesn't close until the end of 2025, let's say November 2025, that revenue gets recognized in 2025 because that's when it closed?
Thank you, Councillor Watt. We took a bit of an approach to go pretty much permit by permit and try to determine the level of work that has been completed based on some milestones for each permit. And so the numbers that are resulting are based on that process and that review. But yes, you are correct. If the permit closes in November 2025, then the full amount would be recognized. But there is a portion of that permit, once it is issued, is recognized immediately. So it's something we're going to continue to review. This is a new policy for all municipalities, and we're going to probably speak to our neighbors and see how the process and their milestones that they determine. But that is the process that we've undertaken.
Thank you.
Councillor Johnston?
So my question is that through the chair, what happens if it goes on for 2 years, 3 years? Like that's really going to have a bubbling up where we stand on it. We'll never really know.
For you, Councillor Johnson, it's a very good question. Just in terms of, we were having this discussion earlier today about how minute. I think the goal of this process is to keep things at a higher level, because at the end of the day, this is an accounting process. Whether the permit is issued in 2024 or prior, the revenue has been received. But to satisfy the requirement, we are going to have to determine what portion of each permit should be recognized and when. And so if the permit does stay open for a longer period of time, we're going to have to evaluate how exactly we recognize that revenue and what percentage.
Any other questions from council? I'll wrap it up with one. So you reference in your report, Mr. Kramer, the legislation, the new accounting legislation, PS 3400. Is that provincially legislated that municipalities are now reflecting this, or is it through the body, I can't recall, that actually sets the accounting legislation?
To you, Madam Mayor, the PSAB is Public Sector Accounting Board, and that would be for Canada-wide.
So this is PSAB's, right, PS 3400, it's
Yeah.
PSAB's legislation. Thank you. Okay, so with that, just a motion to, we're just receiving this report, receiving and approving. Yeah, Councillor Johnston, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nelson, all in favor. And that motion carries. Thank you. We heard you, Councillor Vervoort. On with item 10.3, 2024 council remuneration, and that's also your report, Mr. Cameron.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, this report is to satisfy the requirement of the municipal act. It's for information purposes. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Okay, council? Any questions? Any discussion? Can I just get a motion on that then, please? Deputy Mayor Nelson, seconded by Councillor Watt. Any discussion on motion? All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, and that motion carries. Item 10.4, 2025 salary step increases, and this is yours, Mr. Davis.
Through the mayor to members of council. So this report is pretty straightforward. As I understand it, as part of our compensation agreement for both non-management and management staff, we have policies related to how an individual progresses through the salary grid to attain their full job rate in accordance with the schedules. A combination of satisfactory performance reviews, a required educational advancement in service with the municipality are required as the basis of my recommendation to council. I will say all staff have gone through the performance review process this year. We've looked at all of their staff training hours, and they've met those that have met the threshold and are entitled to my recommendation for a step increase are listed in the report. That it would be Martina Chait Harwick, Jake Condon, Don Hellman, Jessica MacArthur, Mike Mood, and Vanessa Sweet. Happy to take any questions you might have. This is a pretty straightforward report, and it is part of our practice as is part of the policy.
Right. Any questions from council? Hearing nothing, looking for a motion.
I'll make
Go ahead.
the chair, I'll make the motion to follow the recommendation.
Thank you.
I'll
Councilor
second it,
Watt,
yes.
second that. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. On to item 10.5, Young's Point signage opportunity. Mr. Davis, back over to you.
Sure, I'm happy to report on this. So we've been approached by the Township of Selwyn with an inquiry about a signage project and a potential location for that signage to demarcate the entrance to Young's Point. I will point out that the property that I listed is not exactly the entrance to Young's Point. However, the reason for our involvement, Highway 28 is a highway that's controlled by the Ministry of Transportation, Ontario Ministry of Transportation, sorry. And there's a significant number of rules related to that. The Township of Selwyn attempted to locate that sign within their own jurisdiction closer to Young's Point. The challenge they had was that they needed to be set back 250 meters from the signalized intersection at Young's Point. The closest piece of land that was municipally controlled either by Township of Selwyn or Douro-Dummer happens to be the property that I've put forward today. In discussions with our peers in Selwyn, they've undertaken this project as part of the 2025 Peter Robinson celebration, recognizing that Young's Point is one of the historic Peter Robinson settlements. They approached us to come forward and work with them to place this sign on this piece of land. I will note that this piece of land is owned by the municipality, or the township, sorry. It is, we use it for the purposes of a daylighting triangle. Our intention would be, if we were to site this sign on that property, to make it so that it would be as less obtrusive as possible. And I would note that the neighbors have inquired a number of times about purchasing the land for themselves, and we are not interested as a municipality to date to sell it. However, we would be willing to partner with, or we are recommending a partnership with Selwyn to place this sign here. My recommendation is that we enter into a lease with them so that we can understand and have sort of clearly delineated responsibilities and liabilities as vis-a-vis that sign. But otherwise, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't help someone out. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Any questions? Councillor Johnston.
Through the chair, I just want to know, I mean, the sign looks good.
Yeah.
I just want to know, roughly speaking, how high and how wide it is. If you know that at all? Or is this just?
I do. It's one of the attachments, has the sign specs on it. I just didn't print that attachment because it was.
I didn't see it. That's fine.
But it's not, I don't think it goes above 8 feet in height, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it is about 3 feet across.
Is this it?
It's a 3.6 across.
3.4.
That's.
Which one's
That's
this?
but
And for samples?
Well, that's the difference I got.
there's 3 different versions.
So the height is to be determined based on the locations, and the sign is wide, 3.6.
3.6.
Yeah.
That's good.
Councillor Watt.
I'd like to make a motion that we follow recommendation and go ahead with the sign in conjunction with Selwyn. We've always been good neighbors. We have reciprocal agreements for other things, stuff like that. And yeah, and it going with the 200-year Peter Robinson subdivision. So I think that's, it all fits in and ties in very, very well. So I'm very much in favor of making a motion that we go ahead with that recommendation
Thank you very much.
to support it.
Okay. Would somebody like to second that motion?
I'll say.
Deputy Mayor Nelson. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That motion carries. Thank you. On to section 11, which are committee minutes. We have minutes simply from the Public Library Board. Just need a motion on those.
I'll make a motion to receive those.
Thank you, Councillor Vervoort, seconded by Councillor Johnston. Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries. On to correspondence, just one item, Town of Bradford West Gwillimbury, request for landlord tenant board reforms. Council, what would you like to do with that? Deputy Mayor,
I'd like to make a motion to accept and support.
receive and support. Would you like to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Councillor Vervoort, any discussion on the motion? Councillor Watt?
Yes, thank you, through you, Madam Mayor, and I'm just looking for the part here, whatever. There was a section in there that, and it's the only part that seems to bother me on a lot of things is, that they want the government to step up. If something comes up that, that somebody can't pay or somebody can't do this or somebody can't do that, well, the government will pay you, stuff like that. And that always, it's not the government's responsibility to jump in on every single thing that doesn't go right, kind of like that, it's, I just wanted to throw that out there. I'll support the document, stuff like that, and whatever, but I just wanted to throw that out there that people are starting to really get tired of things bumping back, if this doesn't happen, the government's gonna have to come good for it, whether it's, and there's all kinds of things, I don't want to get into a whole bunch, but there's all kinds of different things that seems to come up, so that's my say.
Councillor Watt, just to clarify, is it the establishing a hardship relief fund for landlords?
I believe that's what it is, yeah, so they're asking the government again to come up with a relief fund to subsidize something other that should be between the tenant and the person that rents the place out, and if it goes to court, it goes to court, and somebody's got to pay, but I don't really feel that it should be the government every time we turn around that has to come up with cash to settle these things, which comes out of taxpayers' money.
Noted, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Just something I believe I might be able to clarify, and I could be wrong, but I think there's already a fund set up for the tenant through the government, if they can't afford it, that there is a government subsidy there, and there's all different qualifications and everything else, and with I just see it being as a fair, that's why I supported it. I just see it being as a fair, there's so many tenants also sitting back and not paying until they get a hearing, and that's over a year. It's a long time it's a long time for the landlord to sit and wait on it, in both ways.
Yeah.
So I see that fund is already, I know that fund is already set up in most cases for the tenant, but I think it could be a shared responsibility, at least until they get to the tribunal. And of course, I don't think the landlord would once that motion, or once that happens, I don't think the government is going to be giving that money to the landlord. It's just a temporary fix, I believe. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, but that was what I got out of it.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor that's been duly seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Carries, thank you. We have no bylaws, no reports from notices of motion. Are there any notices of motion? Any announcements? Hearing nothing, right down to our confirming bylaw.
So
Counselor
moved.
Watt? You want to second that? Counselor Johnston, all in favor?
Yes.
And carries, thank you. And just to flag, our next council meeting, our next regular council meeting is on April 15th at 5 PM, and we have committee of the whole on April 16th at 10 AM. And a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Deputy Mayor? Counselor Watt, all in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
Your understanding.